Welcome to Subscriber Hangout this Saturday. Absolutely unplanned. I know I haven't gone live on YouTube in a long time as far as my studio is concerned. So I'm excited to do this. I'll tell you why I haven't done this in a while. I'm actually hesitant to do it regularly, but maybe I can do it every Saturday, every Sunday. As you know, this week I've been making 3 videos per day. And I was gonna give myself a break on weekends, but I already have one video coming out tomorrow for you guys because of referral program got updated for Tesla, and I don't know why, I really just wanted to do this. So hopefully, hey True Financials, what's going on, man? How are you? Good to see you. And I just miss doing this. Now before that we used to have chat. I used to have chat right here scrolling, but because now when you're either watching live or in a replay on YouTube, you can definitely see that in a replay. If you didn't know that, you can just see it on the right part of your screen if you're on YouTube. Oh no, did I just? Oh, I thought my computer just froze. I think you can expand the chat when you're watching on the phone. So even if you're watching this replay, you can see that. Helmut, how are you? Hi from Orlando. I don't know if you guys know I'm allowed in Sacramento. So let me give you an update about why I haven't been going live on YouTube and why I might not be doing it that often. I'm also live on Instagram right now, but those guys are kind of quiet. Secondly, I am going to tell you, I don't know if some of you know that I moved to Sacramento and I'm now full-time on YouTube. And some, changes here and there that I've made. As you know, I've been making 3 videos per day, but not much on weekends, and haven't been doing too many interviews and stuff like that. So I will update you on all of this coming up next. Welcome to those of you who are watching me live on Patreon. Normally, this show is really dependent on now sponsors and Patreons and everything, and people who are like George in the chat room and Santa's Collection, who are one of the biggest contributors to the show on Patreon. But this is not a tip jar per se there. You actually get a lot of stuff there. See the extra mile, and this is what I'm naming this segment right now. But the extra mile is the part of the show that you don't get to see on YouTube. Is specifically just for the Patreons. It's before or after I tape the segments for the YouTube. But that way I can interact in the chat room, in a private chat room that we have on Patreon. Usually I share some of the information that I don't always share on YouTube. And of course on Patreon I always answer all the comments, all of the private messages and so forth. Much a closer interaction that I can have with you guys. And obviously watching live is number one perk, and having the extra mile. And sometimes I do post pictures that I don't post on any social media except for my personal Facebook page, which is only for my friends and family. So you have that kind of access. But most importantly, yes, I am full-time. I started in July. So first of all, I'll tell you about why and how I went full-time, because I meant to do it, but not as fast as I thought I would. And I'll tell you, it's a funny but sad story. But I'll tell you why. Helmut, hold on a second with some of the questions about cars. I will get to it in a little bit. So the reason I haven't been streaming on YouTube is because of this. I used to stream every day. The shows that you see that I upload now, I used to do them live every day, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of interaction, and you guys were great. This is like the best time of my day every time. But here's what happened. As you know, I use lots of images and videos to visually represent whatever it is that I'm talking about. Usually it's about cars, and most of the time it's footage that either I shot myself or I get them from the media kit or promotional materials that those brands put out there, and they want you to use it as media. But even if they didn't, because this is a news channel, there's such thing as fair use, which my channel pretty much qualifies for, and that means that I can use footage from other sources, whether they like it or not, without violating copyright. But I don't want to bore you with this lawyer stuff, really, but essentially what it is that I can use the footage. Now, it was, I think, back in March, I used the footage of Rimac to, illustrate the story that I was doing about them. And a couple of weeks after that, I got a strike. So YouTube can give you a strike if they believe you're violating copyright laws. Now, when I got that strike, I was a little taken back, and I contacted Remac. We're in good relationship, as you know. I just interviewed Mate Remac in August. Now, of course, that was before that, but I'm just saying that that good relationship, led me to interviewing Mate, the CEO and founder of Remac. And so I said, hey guys, what's going on? Why'd you put a strike on my video? They're like, we don't know anything about it. I started digging in, started checking with YouTube and seeing who put the strike on it. Turned out it was some Indian company. And I guess now that I know there are companies that are based in India and other countries that are basically trying to scam you out of money, and they essentially try to steal copyright information and steal copyright rights, and put strikes on people who actually don't deserve them. So that's what happened to me. Now, unfortunately, I don't know why YouTube. So YouTube, the way YouTube treats us creators is usually you're guilty until proven innocent, right? So apparently this Indian company somehow claimed the copyright to the very video that Remac made. Like, they literally hired their own production company, made the video about their car, posted on a YouTube channel. And somehow YouTube allowed that Indian company to steal that right and start putting strikes against creators like myself. And guess what? Guess who got the strike like 2 days later? Remac's YouTube channel, which is insane because it's their video that they paid for, that they posted on a YouTube channel to promote their car and their brand, and they got a copy strike from YouTube because somehow YouTube allowed that Indian company to own the material. Now, what happens after that is you have to go back to YouTube and prove that you're innocent, right? Because you're guilty now that somebody said you're guilty. So I did that. Apparently, they didn't like that I put my E4Electric name, which is a legal name of my company now, and I had to redo it, and it took them like 2 weeks to even tell me that. So I signed it, Alex Guberman, which is my name, and after that, they go back to the claimant and say, hey, what's going on? And if they don't reply in another 3 or 4 weeks, then they basically tell you, okay, you might be innocent. And so I had to wait about 5 weeks, and so did Remac. They did fill out the form correctly, so they waited 3 weeks to get my strike out of my account. Now, here's the thing. If a video that got a copyright strike was a live streaming, then you also have a live streaming rights, taken away from you. So essentially, while I was fighting that BS claim that YouTube allowed somebody to steal, and then YouTube have no good process to let us defend ourselves, at least quickly, I lost the whole point that what channel was rotated around my interaction with my audience. And I said, never again I want to be in that situation. Even though they finally gave me the access back, I said no. What I decided to do is, I will create the videos and I will upload them immediately, but they will no longer be live. But I will go live on Patreon, and that is going to be the perk to those who contribute to my show. And just in case if you guys don't know, Patreon is a website that nice to see you again, William. Oh, Dreamcase. Dreamcase is a product, by the way, if you own a Tesla, where you can sleep inside of your Tesla in a nice comfy bed. So he's watching me, so that's pretty nice. And so totally lost my train of thought now because I thought of a cushy bed and I'm like, got sleepy. Where was I going with this friend is that I decided to reward Patreon viewers who so they can watch me live ahead of everybody, and that way when they contribute to the show, by the way, boom, good timing, patreon.com/E4Electric if you want to contribute, that way they can get something out of it. And later on I implemented the extra mile because I decided once I cut the video where it said, see you guys next time, stay charged and all that stuff, I actually come back and talk to them for a little bit longer to make sure that I give them a little bit more value, a little bit more personal interaction, because essentially what I am doing right now is I'm full-time with YouTube, and my Patreon's contributing to me paying for my food on my table and my electric bill, which is much higher than most people's because I have 2 electric cars in my garage. So and just for you guys, if you don't know, so patreon.com, and you can go to my page, patreon.com/east4electric, is where you get all of this content, which are most of my videos that I stream live, some extra pictures that I don't usually post on social media for everybody, and just more personal touch and more personal attention. You get it all for a fee that you almost pick. There are 3 levels: $1, $3, and $5. $5 obviously gives you access to everything, including live streaming. But a lot of you guys have been so generous to me and donating more than that. I mean, I think George, I think, is the top contributor at $50 a month. I think I just saw him here. Oh yeah, Sandra's collection is at $20. I mean, so people have been really, really amazingly supportive. And I mean, I'm blown away. By the way, also, I wanted to live stream because I don't know if you guys know, but you can contribute to the show using Super Chat. So while I'm live, you can actually donate money to the show. A lot of times it's so your post gets highlighted, and if you have a question or comment or whatever, I will always read it out. But that's also how creators make money, is by so people who are in a chat room donating the super chats to support the show. And I haven't been doing that because I used to make a few $100s a month because people would donate to the show that way. Again, I'm not really sure if I'm going to continue doing that because it is. I am sleeping in my Tesla now, says William. Well, that's pretty cool. Where are you at, man? Which country are you? Are you traveling around Europe? Let me know. So I'm just so you know, the reason I'm looking over there is because that's where my phone is, and I'm streaming on Instagram as well. I've never streamed live on Instagram, so I figured I'd try it because some people who are other creators or just my friends, they only follow me on Instagram and they never get to see me do my thing. So Alex for chairman. I would make a pretty good chairman, I think, because I will disagree. Well, depends on how you look at it, because I disagree with Elon a lot this year. So I think there would be good balance if I would become a Tesla a chairman. But that is never going to happen. I don't think I will even interview Elon ever in my life. And I have interviewed quite a few CEOs and VPs and executives of different companies, including a U.S. congressman. I actually had a U.S. congressman on my show for an exclusive interview, which is pretty cool. So let me move on to. So that's what happened with live streaming with YouTube. I'm now live stream on Patreon, and I'm still afraid to do it here because who knows? Maybe YouTube will screw it up again, and once again I won't have access to live streaming. And so if it's a bonus to you guys, then taking the bonus away for however many weeks it will take for me next time to get rid of the strike, at least it's acceptable. But if it's the main point of the content, then it's not acceptable. Let's see what Eliam says. I'm outside of Dreamcase headquarters. I forget where you're located though. So it's really hard for me to read. My old eyes can't see that far, and I position my phone so you guys kind of can see my studio as I'm doing this. Anyway. I'm just reading some of the chat room here. Let's take some t-shirt. You like? Yeah, this is one of my new t-shirts. Another one says it says a logo says "Stay Charged." But see, like this one, Never Forget, and a few other funny designs that I have. You can either buy it from Teespring, and you can see it underneath those products and t-shirts, any video now that you're watching on YouTube, or if you go to the homepage of the channel, there will be a little link on the top right corner. It's for the Spreadshirt, the company that I actually like better than Teespring. And all of those shirts, actually all like 12 designs, including funny ones like, oh my god, Becky, look at that frunk, and other ones. My favorite one is actually, it says, my car needs a lawyer, it's been charged with battery. I thought it was kind of funny. So so you can buy them. But yeah, this is actually, I just got it today in my mails because I just designed it. Not that it took a lot of design. I just finally somebody said, I actually would like to buy some E4 Electric t-shirts that are just because of the show. And that triggered me to do this. Anyway, back on track on so as my channel started to grow more and more and more, I realized that, listen, I might make, just enough money to be able to live on a very tiny little modest salary if I move to a place in California, hopefully, where it won't be as expensive in Silicon Valley where I was living. And, my full-time job took me obviously full-time job time. And then on top of that, I would work for another 40 or 60 hours a week on the show, including weekends. And as you guys know, I started traveling. I went to Italy and Great Britain and China. So I've used up my PTO like within 3 or 4 months. So I didn't really know what I was gonna do. If I needed to travel more. As you know, I did travel more, and I have more and more trips planned. I think I have 6 or 7 trips planned in the next 6 or 7 months, and probably more will be added. And yes, Ben, thank you. If you guys are enjoying this video, please click on thumbs up. I really appreciate it. It usually makes the video do better. And yeah, so I already had a house here in Sacramento. It's kind of a tiny little house. I only bought it because that's the only place I could afford to buy a house, and I figured, I can rent it out and maybe collect a little bit of extra money to help to live in Silicon Valley. And but this year I felt like, I started to get some traction. I started making a little bit of money on this channel, thanks to a lot to the Patreons and those of you guys who tolerate the pre-roll commercials and stuff like that. So I figured, what? My lease is coming to an end. It's going to be upped for my 2-bedroom apartment. It's $3,500. Me and my ex-girlfriend broke up, and so she moved out. So I kind of had to pay that myself. And I figured, what? If I have to renew my lease there in Silicon Valley for $3,500, I will have to keep my full-time job for at least 1 more year, because that's how long the lease is. And I figured, what? That is no. I really would rather take a risk. I'll move to Sacramento into my tiny little house here, and I will do my best, maybe dip into my savings, but mainly I will keep my job. I worked for a Fortune 100 company, and I'll work remotely. And then in January or February, when I can break even barely, I will quit my job and I'll do this full time. That was my plan. So I finally decided to do it. I've never done anything like this before. I mean, my family lives in the Bay Area, my friends that I made for 25 years, my hockey and soccer teams, and I decided, it's now or never. I really need to do this, and I just decided to do it. So I got my stuff. I canceled my lease. I had tenants here in this house. I told them that unfortunately they'll also have to move. Yes, Jeff, $3,500 for a 2-bedroom apartment in Silicon Valley, and that's not even expensive. If you're looking for a luxury apartment or an apartment in good financial areas of San Francisco, for example, we're talking about closer to $5,000. So it is insane. But here in Sacramento, like 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment is like half of that. But because I have a house, right, I figured, well, I don't have to pay a rent or mortgage or anything like that. I just have to pay taxes and my huge electricity bill because of my cars. But that's fine. I can do it. I'll suffer through another half a year having 100 hour a week day, but that's fine. Jeff, don't tell me how much you pay for rent. That will only depress me and everybody else who's watching in Silicon Valley and probably New York and stuff like that. Too bad about the girlfriend, that's right, but we actually stayed very good friends. I'm actually hanging out with her tomorrow because we're going on the concert that we bought tickets for a while back in San Francisco. So we're really good, on really good terms. So don't be sorry. It's just we decided it's best for both of us, and that's what made my move possible. And anyway, but I didn't get to the best part of the story. So I'm just watching on my Instagram, which I still can't see. What happened was I moved in July, and my job, my boss said it's okay for me to move remotely. It was like Sunday. I moved on Sunday, and on Monday, my entire department had major layoffs, and me and my boss and a bunch of other people all got laid off. So here I am in Sacramento, hoping to make it to January, so I can barely live off of my savings and some of the income from the channel. And boom, I really just was like, oh crap, okay. So I really tightened up my belt. Like I don't even bring my cars to car wash. I actually bought like $70 worth of car washing supplies, and I wash my cars by myself now, in my backyard, which I did yesterday. Not fun, but whatever. So that way I save like $25 every time I wash the car. I cook at home more. I mean, I'm really tightening up my belt. So and that's fine because I really 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 love doing this, right? And that's fine. I got a bit of severance package, so I'm gonna try to make it last, and then we'll see. But at the same time, it gave me much more time to not only do more videos. Now I do 3 videos a day. At least I'm trying, and see how it's gonna go. But also I'm able to reach out to more potential sponsors. Maybe have some of the videos sponsored in the future. As you can see, Climate Exchange became a new sponsor. There were a few other videos that I've done. I'm also now have done some speaking engagements. I moderated a panel at the TechCrunch Disrupt. So things have started to roll, and obviously not enough money for me to live on yet, but at the same time I do feel hopeful that next year at some point I will be able to kind of stop living off of my savings and be able to actually pay myself a tiny little salary enough to do this. But again, I don't really care. I'm more than happy to forfeit my Silicon Valley salary to do this because I absolutely love doing this. And all the support that I've been getting from you guys. Now I know I get a lot of hate because I'm not a Tesla fanboy, and I'm not a fanboy of anything. Even though I'm probably going to be switching from Tesla to Audi, I have my own issues with that car particular, some of the features and how they're handling some of the rollout of their e-tron and stuff like that. But so I'm on no one's side but yours, of our community, of the electric car community. Even though some of them don't really appreciate it, they believe that if I criticize Tesla or Elon Musk or Jaguar or whatever, that I'm a hater, where actually I think the way you move forward in any community, in any project, is by demanding the best out of people who are actually, driving, pun intended, this whole movement forward, which is Elon Musk and, Volkswagen Group president and CEO and many other people in the industry who actually have power to do or not to do things to move us forward. For example, you guys know that I'm not very happy with Elon Musk this year. I believe he completely sidetracked the conversation from electric cars. As a matter of fact, now when his name is mentioned, which is almost equivalent with Tesla for many people, look at him in a negative way, as some crazy guy now who does weird stuff on Twitter, just like that other crazy guy. And it's not good look for all of us, regardless whether you drive a Tesla or a Bolt or you don't drive the electric car at all. It's just not good for the entire movement. But nevertheless, I think me, Nikki of Transport involved, and I think that's pretty much it. I think Fully Charged is the only other show that's kind of independent of the brand, but they don't really do news. So I think it's just me and Nikki who are actually here to serve you guys as a community with real news and analysis regarding of how you guys feel about it. I know me and her can have way more subscribers, just like Ben and Rich and, and Zach and Jesse, going along with the whole Tesla, a brand. And I know it's hot, but I think, I hope you guys appreciate that we kind of forfeited a lot of subscribers and therefore a lot of income, because our thing, and I should probably speak for myself, because our thing is being fair and balanced. And as the more non-Tesla brand cars are coming out, I really do want to make sure that I cover them equally. I do want to make sure that I expose some of the shortcomings of what's coming and what Tesla is doing, and so people can have a better choice and make better decisions about whether or not they should buy an electric car, what brand, for how much lease or buy and stuff like that. All of that stuff, I believe it's a service from me to you guys, regardless of how much you may not like sometimes what I say. And I think that's the biggest value. Ben says I don't support Volkswagen Group, and that's fine. I know a lot of people are still very upset about Dieselgate and the testing that they've done on animals, and I am too. The way I'm looking at it is that they are paying their price. Some of them have gone to jail, including the Volkswagen Group CEO, I believe, and Audi CEO, and they continue paying the price. I believe the Audi was just fined yet another $1 billion. And not that they're being fined, they are now creating the projects like Electrify America that's actually benefiting electric car community, creating a charging network, putting together advertisement campaigns for electric cars. So out of this huge disgusting mess that is Dieselgate, something really good came out, or at least coming out. And I think because of how badly, I think, they want to distance themselves from the Dieselgate. They will try even that much harder to push forward with electric technology. And look, you know, Volkswagen's coming up with their ID cars, and it's not just one prototype, they have few lined up, right? Audi with the e-tron, which I believe is an acceptable car for me to switch from Tesla to. A very, very decent product with a decent range. They're in production right now. And Porsche Taycan, followed by, there are rumors of a couple of SUV slash wagon looking cars, but they are, and the new Audi GT, I believe, e-tron will be based on the Porsche Taycan. I mean, they are, and those are all quality cars. And, you know, Porsche is creating their own network of fast charging stations in the United States, you know, Electrify America in the US and Canada. Don't forget, Volkswagen Group is one of the investors of Ionity, the fast charging network that's growing in Europe right now. So yes, I know Dieselgate, but if we're going to punish every single company that's ever done anything bad, we will end up not living in the woods. I think they're paying the price for it. They will continue paying the price for it, as long as they're turning that into something very positive. I will be behind them. But the leash is very short. So that's a quick answer to that, Ben. Jeff says, I totally agree with you about Musk. Well, a lot of people don't. A lot of people are no longer subscribers to this channel because they don't like me talking badly about the supreme leader. And you know, every time I do a negative video about Elon Musk, it's because not of me being a hater, it's because of Elon Musk doing something that he shouldn't be doing, or something that's damaging to him. And every time I start the video saying, hey guys, I hate doing this, I hate saying this, he's been an inspiration, and I think he's one of the most important people on this planet right now, pushing us forward, but he shouldn't have done this, or this was inappropriate, right? So I absolutely, and I think that's something that should be appreciated rather than kind of hated. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Let me look at what people are saying. As long as you don't wear the big oil caps and all of the sudden have money, says William, we're all good. Okay, yeah, fair enough. And you know, like for example, even the sponsors that I'm going to be working with hopefully soon, not everybody's going to like them, right? And I'm going to just have to say, I'm sorry, guys, in order for this independent show to go on, in order to me report, you know, fairly, I pick the sponsors that I think are good for you. If you don't agree, I'm sorry, but they are good for the show to move forward, and I pick them specifically. I don't say yes to everybody. There are quite a few people who have contacted me, do so regularly, and I said, you know what, I can't be behind this, or this is not right for my audience. But I think you guys can agree that so far, all the sponsors and all the segments that are sponsored by different brands, sometimes they don't pay you money, sometimes they just fly you out to make sure you're there for an event. I think they've been so far beneficial to you as my audience, and I have absolutely in no way, changed my opinion or softened my opinion about their brands just because of that. George, thank you so much. George, I don't even know what to say. Not only George just upped his Patreon monthly contribution to a ridiculously high $50 a month, he just super chatted me at $60. Says, keep up good work, George. Thank you so much. You know, people like you, obviously, I'm putting bread on my table, essentially, and I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for being the supporters. Thank you in more ways than one. But most importantly, the fact that you watch and support me, even though we don't always agree, I'm assuming that means a lot. So thank you so much. I will, this money will go into my next electricity bill or my equipment. So thank you so much, George. I really appreciate it. Thomas Little asks, are you going to be able to lease your Audi? Okay, so I don't know, and I think this is one of the cool things about the legacy brands, that when they make a car, like for example, when Nissan Leaf, the second generation came out, you could lease it right away because they don't have a problem like Tesla has. Like right now, you can lease a Model 3 despite it's been on the market for sale for over a year, because the leased cars don't generate as much profit for a brand, but bigger brand, legacy brands are able to do that. I don't know, Thomas, if I'll be able to lease Audi. I'm if I'm not, it will probably affect my decision in one way or another. I have a different way of how I can actually own a car or get a car is because I have a equity loan against my house, so the interest it can be tax deductible, but it's still, I obviously, as I said in many videos, that I will still have to pay the sales tax and a lot of other things that I don't really want to pay and really not necessary. So we'll see. I did have to buy and finance my very first Tesla in 2012. I don't know if you guys know, I was one of the first 3,000 people to own a Model S, and actually it was signed by Elon Musk. I actually yanked the sun visor out of it before I sold it, and it's hanging on my wall over there in my studio, signed by Elon in a big bulky frame. And we'll see. I just extended the lease of my Model S by 6 months, so I won't have to worry about until March. But I will be in communication with Audi. I'm one of the first reservation holders here in the United States for the e-tron. And we'll see. I don't know. If I won't be able to lease it, we'll figure it out. I do have to say that because of being a YouTuber in the space, there might be some exceptions sometimes made, but I don't know. I'm just saying I'm hoping I will be able to lease it. Jeff says, Alex, I would love to see coverage on other electric vehicles like buses, motorcycles. Any chance of doing more coverage like that? I would like to as well. Buses are much harder to review, right? And motorcycles as well, because I don't drive a bus or a motorcycle. I don't have a license, so it's harder to review. I'm trying to arrange a couple of reviews for vans, one of the vans that are coming out. And when there is news, I do cover it. However, there are more entertainment news, and I do try to make it exciting when I can, but I don't always do that unless it's kind of exciting and people want to see it, because I do have to get clicks and watch time and feed the beast, right? Mike Silhi, am I pronouncing your name right? Thank you. You donated 200 MX. I don't even know what that is. Oh, that's pesos, right? That's Mexican. I was just in Mexico, like literally in December. I should know. But okay, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's actually not little. That's actually good money as well. Thank you so much. There are Patreons that contribute $1 a month, by the way, and I appreciate that as well. Okay, so thank you, Mike. And sorry for butchering your last name, which I probably did twice now. All right, so let me catch up with some of the comments. Are you going to be able to lease Audi? I already answered that. I love Elon, but he said some irresponsible things, said Ben. I agree with that. He's obviously paying for one of them, but I think the most unexcusable one was the pedophile comment. Not so much the comment itself, but accusing somebody of essentially child rape is not okay without any evidence. And I will never change my mind on that. I think his biggest mistake was that. Even people like Ben Sullins, I don't know if you've seen Ben's video at that time. Ben and many other YouTubers who are sort of Tesla YouTubers, they will be on their side almost no matter what happens. But even Ben made a video that was not in support of Elon Musk at that time. That's how, when Elon's biggest fans are, going back and saying, whoa, that is over the line, I might be right, right? Sometimes. All right. Alex says, I think in 2018, home equity line interest not deductible anymore due to the new tax law. Okay, maybe I should look into it. I only have it for emergency, to be honest with you. So I definitely would check before doing that. But because I'm not paying myself a salary right now, and when I will, it won't be a big salary. I may not be able to lease anything. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens by then. I don't know. That's why I'm like, let's see. I might not have a choice but to purchase or finance and stuff like that, just because, I am going to stick with this YouTube thing, no matter what happens, no matter how many times I have to wash my own car. Okay. Can't you write off the full price from taxes since it is for your job? Okay, not to get all, and I'm not a tax consultant or lawyer or whatever. When I used to write off my car when I had another a business before this, I believe the rule was this. First, you have to have a personal vehicle, and that can never be tax deductible ever. It's your second vehicle that's registered to you that can be used up to 95% for business, but you have to be driving somewhere. So, for example, if you have a home office and you have an office somewhere else, and you're driving between there and here, then you can write off that travel, or if you're traveling to a conference and so forth. But if you're just driving around, that is not good enough, from what I understand, to just write it off. So yeah, now I have to say that bigger YouTubers than mine, what happens is brands just give them cars all the time. Sometimes it's for a week, sometimes it's for a month, sometimes it's for a few months, because essentially when they live stream or they talk about what kind of cars they drive and like, they obviously talk about it, and just a mention of it regularly is worth whatever that car is costing the brand, right? So let's say it's costing them $600-700 a month of the lease price that they're not getting for their media car, but here's a YouTuber that mentions them 2, 3, 4, 5 times a month. They're saying it's totally worth it, because that's essentially a little bit of money that they're spending on advertisement, and YouTube advertisement is always the best when as YouTubers, whatever you want to call us, actually buy it themselves and use it themselves, and therefore people who trust them and watch them say, oh, I will definitely consider this because somebody I trust and follow uses that car for him or herself. So maybe that will happen. That's what I'm saying. Time goes so fast right now that I don't know what's going to happen to me and my channel in 6 months, right? Think about what I was 6 months before. I had a full-time job, and I lived in a completely different location. I don't have a full-time job now. This is my full-time job, and I live in Sacramento now, which, by the way, I don't like so far. I gotta tell you, it is very, very different planet that I live right now, and feels very lonely. Not because I don't know people here. I make friends quickly. It's because it's just a very different culture here, and I feel alone even when I'm in a crowd of people who are, hanging out. It's kind of weird. We'll see if that changes, but I'm just saying, even living in Sacramento versus Silicon Valley is been, not that great. Mike says it's $10 that he donated, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Mike, for that super chat. And of course, George's super chat of $60 is still kind of blew me off my chair. Is Edron 6,000 pound car? New York Chameleon is asking. You know what? I don't know. I think this is easily Googleable. So I would say before you'll probably be faster than me, because I'm in the middle of this whole live stream. But let me know if you can check it out and find out. Why do you ask? Let me move on. Are you going to have scheduled times for chats? Asks Ben. Well, listen, I actually did this kind of like just because I wanted to. Well, not just because because I wanted to, but mainly because I decided to do, 2-3 videos a day. So each video is specifically for one story that's coming out. And on the weekends, I just decided I will give myself some break, because I got to tell you, it's kind of tough to work every day. And on weekends, because those are not news segments, they take so much more prep time and so much more editing and shooting time, that I get so stressed out saying, well, I mean, on one hand, I'm supposed to relax and kind of reset and maybe go on a date or go to a festival or something, but I got to get this video out, and it stresses me out, ruins my weekend a lot of times, even though I love doing it. Just the fact that I want to get it out is kind of tough. So because I ended up with so much free time this weekend, I was like, well, what if I just go live? Because that doesn't really take that much, right? It's fun. I love doing this, talking to you guys. Probably I'm going to have to go and get some water, because my voice is like, didn't realize how long I've been going on. 35 minutes already. Wow. Okay. I see this question I'm going to have to tackle in a second. Okay. And by the way, Ashley Hill just donated $10. Thank you, Ashley. Once again, one of the biggest supporters of the show, one of the biggest contributors on Patreon and on a YouTube channel. So thank you so much. He says, supporting you through Patreon at moment. Now YouTube does similar, which gives you the bigger cut. Definitely, Patreon gives you, I think, like 95% or 90%, and YouTube gives you 70%. But the only way you can contribute on YouTube is this, what you guys are doing right now through super chats. And this is my first ones. The only other way, obviously, are those Google ads, those pre-rolls that you see before videos. And I think it's also like 60 or 70% there. So Patreon is definitely better, but um, I don't know why Patreon's been kind of a tough go, even though I think it's much bigger and better benefit to you guys there. So, wait a second. I felt like I was going to answer a question. What's up with the latest watch? Asked George. It's first of all, it's not a watch. It's a Fitbit. And secondly, pink is my favorite color. Absolutely. I think only real man can wear pink, I think is the wording. I love it. There's a story behind it actually. My previous relationship before my black ex-girlfriend that you guys are more familiar with, she has two kids, and one of them was a little girl, and she loved pink. And when she went to watch me play hockey, she couldn't figure out which player I was. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna buy a pink stick so you can see, because who else would be insane to get a pink stick? And then at that time, all this fashion brands, and I'm into fashion in generally. I mean, I know this t-shirt right now doesn't say that, but I'm into fashion. And so my previous channel was about men's fashion, and the pink started becoming a color that, a lot of brands started to roll out for men. And I thought, you know what, it looks pretty good on men. And I feel like a man who's wearing pink is confident. I'm also wearing pink socks right now. Check it out. There you go. I totally forgot I was wearing pink socks. And sometimes I will also wear big pink Adidas shoes. So, and that usually gets a lot of attention. But I just love pink. And this is Fitbit. Let's see. So not the latest watch, and not a watch. Okay, so yeah, I was answering Ben's about scheduling this. You know what? I will try to maybe do it a couple more times on the weekend. And if that sticks, then I will continue doing that. I will have to have a lot of travel. So a lot of my videos, daily videos, in which I will be doing 2-3 times, will be live from my cell phone wherever I am in the world, like I did during the Vid Summit in Los Angeles, where I just went. And now that's the only event that I wasn't covering as an electric car event, because that was basically a summit for YouTubers, and that's where you try to get better. Ben Sullins was there, and I see a question about him already in here. So yes, some of my just news reports when I'm traveling will be live off of my cell phone. Let's see. Oh, Instagram is still kicking. All right. Okay, next question from Ben. What did you talk about with Ben Sullins at the social media conference? So the conference that we both attended was called Vid Summit. I think it's the best conference for YouTubers. That's where I learned a lot of stuff and met a lot of other YouTubers, which is a big deal, because it feels alone, because I feel alone because a lot of people don't really quite understand struggles that you have as a YouTuber and frustrations that you have every day. It was good to see other people who not only struggle through the same thing, but also are creative and give me a lot of energy and lots of new ideas. But because it was a conference, there were a lot of speakers who were sharing their stories and lessons to help other YouTubers. Ben Sullins was one of the speakers. Unfortunately, one of my friends was speaking at the same time in a different room, so I didn't get to see Ben's speech. I wanted to, but we'll all get access to replays, and I'll definitely watch that. I ran into him a couple of times. We have a quick conversation. It was really small talk. I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't seem like Ben really wants to work with me. I think he's one of the few YouTubers who've yet agreed to be on my show, even to be interviewed. I've stopped asking him a long time ago, but I'm pretty sure I asked him 4 or 5 times. As you know, I had quite a few other YouTubers. Zach and Jesse were on my show. Rich Rebuilds, which is a much bigger YouTuber than Ben at this point, was on my show. One of the largest Tesla unofficial podcaster, Ryan McCaffrey with Ride the Lightning, was on my show. Why am I losing train of thought? Well, a U.S. congressman was on my show that he thought that was worth coming on my show, but Ben doesn't, and that's fine. It's unfortunate. I think me and Ben can have some. You know what? I'm gonna get a cough drop because my throat is killing me. Well, now I'm gonna sound horrible. Well, let me suck on it just for a little bit so I can get my voice back, and then I'll throw it right out. It's unfortunate. There's nothing I can do. I don't know what it is that he doesn't like me. Oh, Nikki from Transport Evolved was several times on my show. I was on like Tesla's on Kim's channel, and I don't know why all of this escapes me, but I have an entire strip of all the guests of other YouTubers, electric car and Tesla YouTubers. They were guests on my show, and I don't know Ben why Ben doesn't want it, and that's fine. You know what? I mean, he can do obviously whatever he wants. Though I think we would have had a pretty interesting conversation, just like we had with Zach and Jesse. My interview with them was pretty interesting because we weren't talking about things we were agreeing on. We were talking about things we weren't agreeing on, but done so respectfully. And I thought that was one of the best videos, best interviews that I've done. If you guys haven't seen it, it's in my library. Just search for that. So just small talk with Ben, and even if we would have talked about something significant, I wouldn't have shared because it would be a private conversation. This is the second time I met Ben. The first time I actually did an interview with him, but because the copyrighted music was playing, I really just couldn't use it, unfortunately. So it's the second time I met Ben, and again, he's never been rude to me in person or anything like that. He just doesn't seem to want to work with me. But other than that, again, my interaction with him were never unpleasant, and I would say they were pleasant. Let me catch up to some things. What do you think about getting rid of the silver color for the M3? Listen, silver color, I believe, is one of the most popular colors for cars, mainly because that's the color that you can have where you don't have to wash your car very often. So I understand that they're trying to ramp up the production. It's very important, and because their bottleneck has been paint shop for a long time, and it looks like the only way they're able to solve it right now is by kicking out a bunch of colors, and it's just one of the colors that just had to go. And I'm sure they've made a determination in terms of which one is more popular. And I don't think silver has ever been that popular for Tesla, because I think Model S doesn't really look good in silver, I think. I remember I was originally going to get silver, and when I saw the Model S in silver, I was like, oh, that's not what I expected. So I'm assuming they kicked out colors that were least in demand for the Model 3. I'm assuming they're going to bring it back once this whole, all of the bottlenecks are solved, and they can bring it back. Let's see. Jeff says, I don't see you doing coverage on low-priced options. Correct me if I'm wrong. May I ask why? Sona Scion, Unity, three-wheel vehicles. Well, I'm actually a huge fan of Hyundai Kona EV and Kia Niro EV. I think I've covered them a lot. I think I'm due to actually drive Hyundai Kona for a while. I covered the unveiling of Kia Niro EV here in the United States in January, and I think those are the major. I just lost train of thoughts. Not the deal breakers. The opposite of deal breakers. I think these cars are going to be big because of their price, because of they are being made by the manufacturers that have the service centers and all of that parts and all of that stuff together, and don't have some of the problems that a lot of people like myself are frustrated about as far as Tesla is concerned. So I have covered. Now the three-wheel vehicles. I do. Okay, I remember the company. I did reach out to them many times. They just never replied. So sometimes I don't cover brands as much. Unless there's just news, right? If there's news, I will cover it. But if they don't answer if they don't reply for my request for an interview or in-person review or a test drive, there's nothing I can do. I can't beg the brands to so I can promote them and I can do more stories. That's just the way it is. But I think I cover them when I can. The Sona Unity. You're right. I don't cover them as much because I don't think they make as much splash. I think they're being made in smaller quantities, and I just don't see them entering the market in a serious way. But you know what? You're right. If you believe I should be covering something more, a lot of you email me or reach out to me one way or another and say, Alex, here's a story we want you to cover. And if there's enough people who want me to do that, I will actually do that. Obviously, I want to make sure that I deliver information that you guys are demanding and looking for. So yeah, I'll be more than happy to. How are you doing? Says Ulysses. I am doing well. My voice is going pretty soon. There's an event going on that I was going to attend at 7 o'clock, which is in 7 minutes, but I'll get to it. Um, just doing a random live chat and see how it goes, see how many people are watching, which is way more than I thought. Also doing it at on Instagram, which is actually still rolling. That's pretty cool. Um, Let me catch up. Do you publish 3 videos per day? Launchpad Astronomy says, now I do. And 3 videos on average, because sometimes there are only 2 stories, sometimes there are 4 stories, Monday through Friday. On weekends, I wasn't really going to publish anything. I am going to publish a video tomorrow morning because the Tesla referral program just changed, like drastically actually, in some way. So that video is coming up. I just taped it before going live, and I was thinking maybe about doing this next weekend as well. We'll see. I mean, I'm enjoying this, guys. If my voice wasn't going, I'm ready to do this all night. Also, Launchpad Astronomy says, best dressed electric car YouTuber around. Thank you, I appreciate it though. Today, I decided to just wear a simple t-shirt because this is the design that I just created that you guys can buy if you want to support the show. Perfect timing for my shop, our merch slide. But this is the first time I got it because I actually, when I create these designs, I have to upload it to the store and then I have to pay the store to make the shirts for me, just like you guys. I didn't get it for free. I actually paid the full price for it. So I'm probably going to get a cut from it, but still, I had to pay. So I just got it today. There's another one says stay charged underneath my logo. So yeah, I've been enjoying it. But normally, yeah, I try to dress up. As I mentioned, my previous YouTube channel was about, it's still out there, men's fashion and dating. Just scrolling. Okay, Helma says Model 3, 320 miles, well, 310 miles really, 49,000, 260 miles, 45,000, 220 miles, 35,000. Yes, except for you can no longer buy in about a week the 310 long range Model 3 for 49,000 because they will force you into buying an all-wheel drive, and that's $5,000 extra. So really the cheapest long range Model 3 will be 54,000. But yes, in comparison, if you just compare all-wheel, a rear-wheel drive, long range, a rear-wheel drive, mid-range, it does sound a little weird that it's only $4,000 difference for an extra 50 mile of range. But yes, generally you're right, but you're just not going to be able to get a $49,000 version for the Model 3 long range in about a week. Different vibe in Sacramento. Yes, it is very different vibe in Sacramento. Just different people, you know. Like I grew up in Silicon Valley. I'm used to people. First, a lot of educated people with masters, PhDs, or at least college degrees. Everyone's very innovative. Everyone's part of this innovative culture of Silicon Valley. People come from different cultures, and I think overall people are get along very well. Here, you know, I noticed the education level is lower. People are a little bit more ignorant. They're a little bit more mean. They don't always appreciate the same things. They don't carry as much culture or education, and even driving here, you can see that shows. Even dating, I gotta tell you, I've been having a hell of a time dating. I don't mean it in a good way, where I've never had problems. I love dating, and now I am I'm having trouble because, for example, like 80% of girls that I would be talking to on text or one of those dating apps, they have no problems right in the middle of a conversation just leaving. Just never hear from them again. It's like, wait, you can't be mad at me because I just asked you, like, you know, how's the weather, like something, and we've been talking for an hour. How, and you know, so that never happened to me before. I've seen so many girls run so late to the dates that we've had agreed on, to the point where I just have to leave because I have to go. It's just different. It's just, I mean, to me, being flaky is extremely disrespectful, and I see it all the time, and including dating, which I didn't really see in Silicon Valley in my 25 years there. Not to say they're not flaky people, not to say that California generally not more flaky than other states. We are, but this is a whole new level. So I've been just having a really, really tough time finding like-minded people, finding inspiration, and just finding people who will be on time or even show up to whatever meetings, dates, and conference calls or whatever that we're having. So it's definitely a problem. Beth says, I had a problem with Patreon chat, not as easy to use as YouTube. Yes, you're right. Patreon is a little more challenging, and they are working on it because it's essentially the live streaming and chat is not Patreons, it's Crowdcast that's incorporated, and they're working on it. And just so you know, oh, my live video just ended. All right, on Instagram. Oh well, all right, that's fine. I didn't know. I guess we crossed some sort of magic time. We're at 55 minutes. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. So and I completely lost train of my thought. I think I was complaining about Sacramento, right? Okay, well, I'm done with that. Premium package. Oh yeah, no. We were talking about the Crowdcast. So I do pay Crowdcast a fee for the bandwidth, for the chat and everything. They've gotten better. But they have a long way to go. But there's no other choice. The only other choice is to stream on Patreon through YouTube, which might create a problem of me not being able to do that if YouTube allows someone else steal copyright material and create a strike against me or something like that. While I'm fighting it and figuring it out, I won't be able to do that. I want to make sure that commitment I'm making to my Patreons is 100%. I can follow through with it. So yes, and it's not perfect. I know. I'm sorry. Let me catch up. Real Men Wear Pink, says Eric Albert. It's also pink for Breast Care Awareness Month. Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I'm assuming you meant. Yes, that is right. October. Did you see the Model 3 teardown Bloomberg video this weekend? I did not. To be honest with you, I mean, they're entertaining sometimes, and sometimes they're boring, but also because I don't have enough knowledge to sort of double check in my mind or even check whether or not what they're saying is right. I don't know how those parts are made and how you can estimate how much they cost, how much suppliers would make them for you, how much retooling is cost when you actually get them. So to me, it's just over my head where I can't determine whether or not whether this information is right or wrong. I can only report on that and assume if someone like Bloomberg does it, and if they lie or cheat or do something incorrectly, people will catch them and call them out on that. So a lot of times I trust that they will do it relatively well. But listen, Model 3 sounds like is one of the best engineered cars out there. I think we all knew that. So yet another confirmation. It's good to have, but is it news? I don't know. I do have to say, Rich Rebuild's channel has like almost 300,000 subscribers, and all he does is that, right? So there's definitely a huge following for that. I just don't know if it's the right information for my channel. I could be wrong, let me know, and I'll try to maybe educate myself a little bit more, and if I can bring more information to you guys, I obviously would. Real men wear whatever color they want. I agree, Dragonfly. Love that. Some people just prefer to work alone. I also agree with that, though I'm a social animal, so I prefer to work with other people. Funhog911 asks, do you know how much lower the Performance 3 is than the regular model in inches? I don't. This is something you probably want to ask on one of the forums. I have one of them. I run the one in called Tesla Model 3 Owners Worldwide on Facebook. Feel free to post your question there. I'm sure somebody will educate both of us on that. Jeff says, thank you, Alex. Yes, I would love to see these lower priced options more. I think you speak for everybody, right? You are a machine, says Launchpad Astronomy. An old machine. I'm 41 now, so I don't know. I don't know about that. So I'm still lucky enough to be able to play soccer and hockey and stay in shape. So I definitely am enjoying my relatively good health at this point. That's why I actually, George, I love online dating. But back to my problems here. I always loved online dating. It always gave me the chance. Sorry, I'm just doing a cough drop still. It always gave me a chance to meet women that otherwise I wouldn't, and also filter out women that maybe are not the right fit for me, and for them to do the same with me, right? So I always loved it, but unfortunately, it's just not working out for me. Not because of the apps. The apps are still the same. I do have to say that Match.com has kind of gone down in their user experience because I met my ex-girlfriend on there and my girlfriend before that. And those were long-term relationships, right? My last relationship was 7 years. Before that was 5 years. So I think it's just the area I'm in and the quality of people, unfortunately, that I'm having trouble with, at least for my liking. Um, your classic guy is the Lucid Air, Alex, says Imad. I'm not. Oh, your classic car is the Lucid Air, um, Alex. Okay, got it. Though I do believe I am a classic guy as well, but I guess that's just to me. um, yeah, I love Lucid Air, and I'm glad. I'm not crazy where the money's coming from, right? Because the Saudi Arabia National Fund, and especially right now, that is not good money to have. But all of this money is coming from either China or Saudi Arabia or other investors, and you just never can. You can always trace almost every dollar to something negative or bad. I don't know. I don't want to get into the politics of it. I guess it is what it is. But yes, Lucid Air. When I checked it out, when I did a report on them on the Monterey Car Week 2017, so over a year ago, I was really impressed. And I don't know if you guys saw. I just did an interview with a CTO of Lucid Air, which I believe is like the only interview that any YouTuber has done, or maybe even any journalist has done with one of the Lucid Air executives. And I believe they're getting this right. He basically mentioned that their unique value proposition for electric car crowd is the luxury of their car. And I got to tell you, I absolutely loved their prototype. It's just really, I would even take it over Mercedes-Benz. It's just so nicely done. Let's see how much of it they can keep. Let's see how fast they can get to production. They are saying 24 months, so it is a while. But I'm really excited that they're actually going to move forward with that. How can I afford a Tesla without a college degree? Asks, let's get smarted. Smarted. I like that. Well, actually, I have videos on this channel. It's called How to Afford a Tesla. And it is about how to free up about $1,000 a month without having to change jobs or whatever careers. A lot of it is also not so much how to make extra money. There are ways how to make extra money. For example, like I'm on the list of a few focus group companies. So wherever some company is doing research, like Mercedes doing research, and they want to get Tesla owners' opinion, they'll pay you $200-300 to go and talk to them for 1 or 2 hours. But that's extra money you get, right? But there are also, most of my suggestions is not so much how to make extra money, is to how not to spend the money you're already making. Because a lot of people spend a lot of money they don't need to spend. I'll give you an example. Like even today, for example, my internet has been crap for the last 3 or 4 days. Literally, it would go out for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, right? That's why my uploads have been a little weird. I'm lucky that I can stream right now. But most people say, oh, damn Comcast, damn AT&T or whatever, and they move on. Well, actually, if you get on their chat, which you usually get on within a minute, you can ask for some money back. Like I got $50 back from Xfinity for this. Well, I know it's not a lot of money, but it is $50 you can have. If you do a few things a month like this, there's your $400, $500, $600 just in money you can get back, and otherwise you didn't. But anyway, check out that video. Also, it's important to keep track of your finances so you know how much money you even have, and it's on my channel in my library. Just search for how to afford a Tesla. Let's see. Credit score. You should be able. You should have a good credit score. You're younger than me, kid, says a Launchpad Astronomy. Okay, but still, I can still complain like an old man, right? Can I? Matthew Terranova says, while I love electric cars, don't you see them as a rich personal toy still at the moment? We need regular base models for the masses. When do you think that will happen? I agree with you partially because yes, I think one of the few acceptable cars right now is a Tesla. But this year, next year, there are, well, there's Nissan Leaf now with extended range and even bigger range next year. I believe in production in January. At least that's what the rumors are. Chevy Bolt has been sold as much as I don't like the way it looks, but it's got a decent range. There are also incentives, a lot of incentives, and these leases are pretty good for electric cars. You can also go with a plug-in hybrid. I myself just got myself a plug-in hybrid Chevy Volt, $3,000 down, $199 a month. That's a pretty good deal. Obviously, I'm not rich. Yes, Hyundai Kona. Any news? Asks Mike. They're moving forward with it, and I believe I'm scheduled to drive one for a little bit, maybe a day or two, and I'll definitely bring that report to you. But Hyundai Kona electric, all electric, and Kia Niro, or e-Niro as they're calling it, those are the cars not for rich people, but they will all be within 30 to 35 mile price range starting, plus the incentives, and a decent range. And if anything, will also save you money on gas for sure, right? So yeah, I agree with you, but I think things are changing now depending on where in the world you are and what you consider rich, right? But things are definitely changing. That's why I'm really excited. I was excited for this year because I thought there were more things that are happening that actually happened. A lot of them got to push back. But the next year is definitely the year where more and more people will be able to not only afford electric cars, but get a decent, good car, not necessarily electric car. They'll happen to be electric for their money, and also be able to have charging solutions. Because let's face it, if you don't know where to charge overnight, doesn't matter how rich or not rich you are, it's going to be tough. And if you don't have enough money and then you have to worry about that or pay money or way more money than you wanted to for charging, then yeah, it's not even worth it. Those solutions are also coming. The laws are changing to accommodate that. So I think in the next 12 to 24 months, things will start changing in a big way. So that hopefully answer your question, Matthew. Complaining is fine. All right. I appreciate that. I have a Volt as well. I got to tell you, I haven't seen a single person who has a Volt that doesn't love it. I love my Volt. I have to say, love it, especially for the money that I spend on it. It's great. It's got some features that my Tesla doesn't have. Gateway car, you're absolutely right, and this is why I kind of turn around on my opinion about plug-in hybrids. At first, I was like, no, all electric or nothing. But I was like, you know what? You're right. Not everybody can afford a $100,000 Tesla and a charge at home. But cars like Chevy Volt with a very decent range, like I rarely gas it unless I go on a road trip, right? Driving around every day, it's more than enough, 50 miles or so. It's very nice. It drives very smooth. It's quiet. It's got a lot of nice features. It's got the nice interface, which you can customize it. And yes, let people get these cars where they know they're driving an electric car, but if they need extra range, boom, they know what gas cars are. They can always put gas in it, and therefore there is no range anxiety or whatever. Oh my God, this electric car. It's an electric car until you don't want it to be or it's inconvenient for you. So, get used to it. Maybe next time you'll be ready for all electric cars, or I should say all electric cars will be ready for you, right? Because the technology is still not quite there. BMW i3, it's worse. I mean, BMW i3 is still, I would say, in a higher end. And I really think they shouldn't have marketed it as all electric car. Should have marketed it as a plug-in hybrid with the longest electric range. But of course, I absolutely hate the way it looks. So I'm just not. They just upped the range a little bit, but the look. I know a lot of people love it because they sold a lot of them, over 100,000. But yeah, not for me. I thought by 1 year old BMW was a nice car until I drove a Tesla. Yeah, I mean, listen, Tesla is the best car out there on the market, electric, non-electric, whatever. It's the best car ever made, period. And it's going to be like that for a while. As I'm switching to Audi e-tron, and that's what probably is going to happen unless something changes, I fully admit that it's not a better car than a Model S. In some ways it is, but in most ways it's at least as good. That's not why I'm switching. It's the hassle and trouble and crappy service that comes with Tesla that's been annoying me the most, and I'm willing to drive a car that's maybe not as amazing, but just a good car where I don't have to put so much effort and wouldn't be as frustrated to own. And that's my reasons. And I know some people have a really, really good experience with Tesla service, and their cars don't break down all the time like mine. And again, this is why we all have different opinions, different experiences, and that's why it's a community, right? Let's see. Joining late, says Brian. Just bought the mid-range. All right. Well, I'm assuming you just paid for it, right? You didn't get it yet. I'm assuming because they just announced it. Let me know if I'm wrong. And let me know if you're actually happy with the half a year, 6-month supercharging option rather than having a $100 credit. Because $100 credit, I believe, can last. There's no time limit. And unless you're charging, that's your, supercharger is your main way to charge your car, you might be better off going with a $100 credit rather than 6 months of free supercharging. But congratulations either way. Maybe you used my referral code, which I have in the description of every video. I just don't advertise it. All right, guys. My voice is really going, and I think I've answered all of the questions. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed doing this. I'm glad I went live. I have one more video tomorrow that's going to be released, and back on the 3 videos a day next week. Launchpad Astronomy says, does Audi have a charging network, or does it not matter for the situation? For my situation, it doesn't matter. I've eliminated fast charging networks, superchargers, or whatever by getting a Volt. I'm not going to be using fast charging network until it takes as much time to supercharge or fast charge my car to the full tank as it does to do the same with a gas car. That's just the convenience thing. And I'm willing to, unfortunately, drive a car that will spend just a little bit of gas for me to travel faster. And I think I already have an entire 2 or 3 videos dedicated specifically to that. But what was the question? Oh yeah, so Audi partnered up with Ionity in Europe and Electrify America here in the United States. Their parent company, Volkswagen Group, either owns or co-owns both of those. Owns the Electrify America, co-owns Ionity. So that network will be pretty much accessible, and that's what they're going to be counting on for Audi e-tron drivers. There will be a lot of new fast charging stations from both networks opening up as the production ramps up, as people are actually going to be getting and driving the e-trons. So the supply and demand should start meeting each other somewhere in the middle. Don't forget that Audi e-tron can be charged at 150 kilowatt rate, which Tesla cannot be. And those Ionity and the Electrify America chargers should be able to accommodate that. As a matter of fact, some of them are being targeted at 350 kilowatt. And that's a whole new level, right? Let's see. Volt is legit. My buddy has had his for a few years and loves it. Yeah, Brian, I've never met anybody who was not in love with their Volt. Sounds good. Good luck with the Audi, and thank you for the great work. Thank you, and thank you guys for watching me, for supporting me. Even if you're just sitting through the 3 or 5 seconds of the pre-roll ads, that's still the money that I'm getting from the advertisers, and that's what's feeding me. Again, if you want to become Patreons and watch me live, I have the Extra Mile segment, which is an extra sort of a hangout session that I do every day with Patreons, and also some other exclusive content that I put in there. You guys are welcome to join. You can join us for as little as $1 per month. Patreon.com/E4Electric. Of course, you can buy my awesome shirts. Some of them are funny, some of them are not. And of course, you can do super chats like George and Ashley and who was the third super chat from? Oh yeah, it was also Mike. Thank you so much for those super chats. So there are quite a few ways how you can support the show and contribute. And of course, I really, really appreciate it now that I'm a full-time YouTuber that basically lives off of the money. And boom, once again, good timing. Patreon.com/E4Electric. At least check it out. See if this is something you guys like. Thanks, Dave. He said, I really like the live stream. Me too. I just need to maybe get some like hot chocolate next time so I can sip on it so my voice doesn't go. But I've enjoyed it. We went for over an hour, and I appreciate you guys hanging out. I know it's Saturday night, at least here in California now, over after 10 p.m. on the East Coast. So I'm gonna go and to an event. I'm gonna go and check out a couple other lounges in the area. Since the dating apps are not working for me, maybe that will be different. But I enjoy doing this, guys. Don't forget subscribe and like the video. That always helps. And of course, thank you to all of the Patreons. I'm gonna try to do it next weekend. Don't know yet when, and also, but I'll try to do it, and maybe we'll do it. You know, have it as a regular thing. One video coming up tomorrow about the referral program, and then back to 3 videos a day on Sunday. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I did. Thank you so much for participating and watching, especially if you watch it on a replay. Feel free to comment. I'll still go over those comments. Other than that, see you next time, and remember to stay charged.